All right, great job yesterday. Today we are going to now add in, adding and subtracting polynomials. So you will be adding and subtracting. Your problems will all be in parentheses, and you're going to have to add them or subtract them depending on what the problem looks like. And when you add or subtract, you combine. This says combing. That's funny. You combine like terms. There you go. There's your funny for the day. And when I say that they're like terms, that means that they have the same variables with the same exponents. And when you combine them, you just combine the numbers out in front. So like if I have 2x and a 3x, the x's stay x's, and this would just give me 5x. You just add those coefficients is what they're called. Add those numbers out in front. So let me show you how you're going to be doing the adding and subtracting. And I want to make this as easy as possible. Some of you are going to be able to look at this and really know what's going on, but I have been doing this for a decent amount of time, and I know the mistakes you're going to make. So I'm going to try to eliminate those mistakes. So what I would do if I were you, when you have addition or subtraction going on, what you can do, and you're going to want to rewrite these. That's just kind of the easy way to do this. So you're going to want to get rid of the parentheses. It's just going to make your life a lot easier. So you can always take off the first set of parentheses. So we're just going to take the first set of parentheses off and rewrite that as is. Now, this is a plus 1. So I'm going to take a positive 1 and distribute to the inside of the parentheses here. Wherever the plus or minus sign is, you'll see a minus sign in a second. That is where you're going to put the plus sign, and that's the only one you really need to worry about distributing to. You'll see why here in a second. So take the parentheses off the first one, just remove it, and then positive 1 times 3x is a positive 3x. Positive 1 times a negative 9 is a negative 9. Once you've distributed, then you're going to combine like terms. So first thing, take parentheses off first chunk. That's probably not the right way to say it, but take the parentheses off the first chunk. Then you're going to distribute to the second chunk, we could say. After you do the distributing, then you're going to combine like terms. I'm sorry I'm using the word chunk, but I think that's the best way to kind of think of it. Take the parentheses off the first chunk, distribute to the second, and then combine like terms. And then as you combine like terms, we have to make sure that we are writing things in standard form, just like we did yesterday. So the largest exponent is just the x's. So I take 2x plus 3x, that gives me 5x. And then I have negative 3 minus 9. So if you are someone who struggles with just simple addition and subtraction, or just addition and subtraction, use a calculator. So this is negative 3 minus 9. And that gives you a negative 12. And that's it. Leave it alone. That's all I want you to do today is just write it in standard form when you're done. You don't need to name it. Unless you really want to be an overachiever today, go for it, but I don't want you to. So for number 14, take the parentheses off the first chunk. So we get 4x cubed plus x minus 2. Distribute, so there's a plus 1. So we're going to distribute a 1 to everything inside the second chunk there. Distribute to the second chunk. Positive 1 times a negative 5x is a negative 5x. Positive 1 times a positive 10 is a positive 10. Positive 1 times negative 2x cubed is negative 2x cubed. Yes, basically what we're doing right now is just removing the parentheses and we get whatever we had back. But in a minute, you're going to see why you need to make sure you're distributing, trying to make your life easier down the road. So now combine like terms. 4 minus 2, because they're both x cubes. 4 minus 2 is 2x cubed. Positive 1x minus 5x. 1 minus 5 is negative 4x. We have negative 2 plus 10 is a positive 8. So I could probably do these other two, but I don't know if you necessarily need to see them done. Rewind back if you need it. I do want to show you two subtraction ones and the whole reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. So we're going to follow those same steps. And so step one, or in order to be successful here, this is what you got to do. Take the parentheses off the first chunk. So 15r squared minus 8. Then distribute. So this is, now I'm distributing a negative one. And hopefully some of you were like, oh, I see what's going to happen here. So we're going to distribute the negative one. Negative 1 times 10r squared is a negative 10r squared. Negative 1 times a negative 12. This is where you have to be careful. Negative times a negative is a positive 12. So if that was confusing, rewind, rewatch. Now, once you've distributed, now we're going to combine like terms. 15r squared minus 10r squared. So you're still combining the same way. It's the distributing where you have to be careful. 15 minus 10 is 5, and then put r squared on the end there. Negative 8 plus 12 is a positive 4. So as you can see, it's not much different, but when you have the negatives, you have to be careful with your signs a little bit. So I'll show you 18, and then I'll get you off and running on your assignment today. And you're going to get more practice with this tomorrow. Tomorrow is kind of a review of the last couple of days. So for 18, take the parentheses off the first chunk here. Then you distribute. Distribute the negative 1. Negative 1 times a negative 9a. Negative times a negative is a positive 9a. Negative 1 times 10a squared is negative 10a squared. Negative 1 times negative 8a. Negative times negative, we have positive, oh, it's a cubed. 8a cubed. All right, so now we need to combine like terms. Remember, look for things that have like exponents. So I have 8a cubed, 8a cubed, 8 plus 8, I have 16a cubed. Went from a 3, I'm going down to a 2, a squareds. Positive 5a squared minus 10a squared. 5 minus 10 is negative 5a squareds. And then right here I have negative 2a plus 9a is positive 7a. And tomorrow, not only are you going to be doing adding and subtracting, but now I'm going to also make you do what we did yesterday with the naming. So this would be a cubic trinomial. That would be a quadratic binomial. So just keeping those nice and fresh in your brain. Any questions today, let me know. I will be watching your Go Formative to make sure you guys are staying up on this stuff. But adding and subtracting is never going away for the rest of this unit. So you need to make sure you know how to do it because we move on to multiplication next week and you need to know how to add and subtract for that.